Now let's get to the book about the royal family that they're all talking about. After weeks and weeks of extracts being made public, Endgame has finally been published today. And guess what? A book written by a man described as Harry and Meghan's favoured journalist has stuck the knife into the other royals, but the Sussexes have had an easy cop-out of a ride. Well, some journalists have had the unpleasant job of having to read Omid Scobie's book, and they didn't hold back with their reviews. Anita Singh from The Telegraph really doesn't hold back at all. She says Endgame is ludicrous propaganda for Team Sussex, adding it's laughably partial, devoid of insight and bizarrely misogynistic, and finally putting the boot in with this. She describes it as a hit job reading like a mum's net post. Hilary Rose in The Times, meanwhile, says that Omid Scobie is breathless, belligerent and boring, and the New York Times even wades in. Its writer, Evie Walshover, says the chapter about Harry and Meghan reads like a press release cooked up by ChatGPT. Well, joining me now is the royal commentator and author, Duncan Larkham. Duncan, it's the book that everybody's talking about, but not many people seem to have much positive words to say about it.
No, your summary there is probably something that would make Omid think, well, at least I'm going to sell more copies. We're getting talked about. I think it's been a big story, his book, his latest book, and I think that he'll probably be delighted with how it's been received.
You think there may be a reapplication of the phrase, recollections may vary about some of the content therein?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff that comes out of this book is yet another attack on Prince William in particular, but also King Charles. And it tries to throw a few more truth bombs, as you like, across the Atlantic towards the royal family. But, you know, how much this represents what Harry and Meghan themselves think and feel and say is we really don't know.
The spiciest allegations in the book, of course, was this conversation about the skin colour of the Sussex's child Archie, or the speculation around that caused immense amounts of damage and pain. And now it turns out that Scobie is claiming there was not one but two royal racists.
Yeah, that's right. The royal racists at large, and now it turns out there are two. He doesn't name them. He says he knows who they are, but can't name them for legal reasons. You know, we had Harry in his interview when his book came out, Spared, just in January this year. Harry actually said, well, it wasn't a racism thing. It was, you know, so Harry backtracked. So it's hard to see how this new book, reigniting those arguments, would carry favour with Harry himself.
Now, Duncan, have you had the pleasure of tucking into this book yet?
No, I haven't quite yet, but I've been reading about it.
Do you think it will sell well? Or, I mean, is there anything left in it? I mean, we've been talking about the flaming thing for weeks.
Look, I mean, this is the thing. People say, well, they're bored of Harry and Meghan, and yet you see this book and some of the revelations in it being front-page stories around the world, in France, in Germany, and obviously here in the UK. You know, the interest in this royal rift isn't going anywhere. People are fascinated, and I think that's because Harry was such a popular royal, second only to the Queen, and yet within a few years of marriage to Meghan, they're second at the bottom of the chart, only to Prince Andrew. So it's a fascinating story.
Okay.